Are you tired of getting dunked on by Mac? Are you tired of getting triple ulted by the enemy team? And are you tired of getting insta-doved on the side of your screen with no reaction time? Well look, I promise this keeps happening to you because you have one of these 5 habits in your arsenal. Season 2.5 is right around the corner, and if you don't get rid of these habits, you're going to be hard stuck like you have every other season until now. So let's talk about the 5 habits and how you can break them before the season starts. The first habit you're breaking today is heal botting. Yes, I know your role is called strategist, or what most people call support or healer. That is not all you do. You can make plays that you don't even realize you could be making once you get out of the heal botting mindset. Now look, ever since the support strike and other things like that, I know we can have a tendency to want to put up high healing output so we don't get blamed for the L. But if you're constantly changing a high healing output number, then you're going to realize that that is not all you have to do to win the game as a strategist. Yes, you have to rely on your other teammates and stuff like that, but just heal botting will not get you to a W. So with that, I'm going to get you out of the mindset of just having to heal bot with these 3 tips right here. Tip number 1, you need to be adding pressure to the enemy team. Look, you are not just a medic, you are capable of doing other things besides heal botting. Look, if you're a rocket, shoot his freaking weapon. If you are cloak and dagger, please switch to cloak for once and actually use their abilities to add extra damage every time they get attacked. Luna, her primary is actually pretty good if you know how to aim. Go to a off angle and start pressuring their backline. Myrtis, I don't even have to say anything about her. The same for Adam. He literally is a DPS healer. So as long as you're on an off angle and pressuring someone, or at least getting someone to get distracted and look at you just for a quick second, you are doing your job as a strategist. Do that, go right back into your team, start healing, and just keep repeating and repeating. They will never keep making progress if you keep doing this. I promise you, if you add pressuring to your arsenal and the strategist role, you will build your ult faster as a strategist. Tip number 2, if you're going to heal bot, at least heal bot with awareness. If you're so focused on heal botting and watching your teammates' health bar, then you're going to ignore flanks, any positions, and even watching the enemy team's ult economy, because that is very important. You need to keep up, or at least know when the enemy team is going to have ultimates, so you can at least prepare either with your own ultimate or your abilities. So with all that being said, I want you to ask this question every time you just got done with a team fight. Where's the next threat going to come from? Who is going to be the next threat? And why are they going to be the next threat? And tip number 3, you need to heal with intent. Look, if all you're doing is staring at health bars every time someone takes damage, you're not supporting, you're just kind of surviving. And that is not how you're going to win the game. Just steady getting over the minimum is not going to get you the W when it comes to healing. You need to be proactive at all times. You need to anticipate when your team is going to take damage so you can get in the position to start healing them. Soon as your team starts taking damage, your healing already needs to be on them. For example, if you're playing Rocket, your healing balls already need to be floating towards your team because you anticipated when they were going to take damage. Now, if you're a real good Rocket, you're going to aim your rocket balls towards the ground so it'll hit your teammates at least twice or 2 to 3 times. In Season 2.5, heal botting is not going to cut it anymore, especially with the nerfs to supports ultimates. You need to be doing something else besides healing. Habit number 2, your cooldown and ultimate economy sucks. Look, you got your ult and so does your other support, but you guys pop them both at the same time. Why? It's because you guys don't know how to use your ultimate properly. You need to know which character is better optimized to use their ultimate in the given situation. Why are you waiting until 2 or 3 of your teammates die to pop a ult? You need to anticipate when you need to use your ult. 9 times out of 10, the enemy team is going to pop their aggressive ults first, which means you have a split second to react with your own ult. You cannot wait until a teammate or two dies to start using it. The seconds you wasted to pop your ult when your teammates died, that's how many seconds your teammates still could have been alive. For a tip here, you kind of need to think about using your ult as kind of like Adam's ult. A good Adam will anticipate his team dying, so he will get a huge res session off. And that's how you need to think about any support ultimate in this game. Let's say you just got done with a team fight on domination, it's getting close to the last 10 percentages, and you know the enemy team is going to group up and have some type of offensive ult. Let's say you're Rocket or Cloak and Dagger. You need to pre-cloak at the right time, not 15, 20 seconds early, but right when they're about to approach the domination point. You need to just go ahead and Cloak and Dagger the point, just so you can get some pressure going. If you're Rocket, you need to pop that ult as fast as possible. Using it right when the fight is about to start does nothing, because one, if you pre-plan your ultimate ability for Rocket, you can actually place it in a good spot to where it won't get destroyed. Placing it in the middle of a fight will just get it destroyed. So you can't play like that. You need to anticipate where they're pushing from, so you'll have ample time to place your ultimate ability in a correct spot. Now look, I get it. I know sometimes we can have the tendency of having the fear of wasting our ult, or sometimes trying to save it for a perfect moment, but you cannot play like that. You need to anticipate when you need to use your ability or your ultimate. The only time you should be worried about a perfect moment is Adam Warlock, because that's literally what his ultimate is for. If you waste it or pre-use it or use it too late, then it's no value to your team. You need to use it at the perfect moment. And anyone else besides Adam Warlock doesn't have that luxury. And actually, that gives you an advantage, because Adam has to wait for a perfect opportunity. You don't. You have the ability to pre-plan, so use that to your advantage. Look, you need to start asking yourself these type of questions. Will this fight turn if I ult now? If I don't use my ult, will we still survive? You need to be asking yourself these type of questions. And as you play the game more, you'll get into more complex and, maybe even the same situations as to where you had before, and now you know what to do this time. So these type of questions may come with, experience and things like that. But as for now, you need to start thinking about, will this fight turn if I ult now? Another simple tip for you guys: watch out for the key cooldowns on their team. Like, for example, Adam Warlock Soul Bond, Luna Snow, her double healing or whatever it does where she claps her hands. You need to be watching out for things like that, because your ultimate can turn the tide, and they won't have the ability or cooldowns to overcompensate for your ultimate that you popped, or your cooldowns that you popped. You need to be watching their cooldowns just as much as they're watching yours, because a good team will wait for you to use your cooldowns at the wrong times, and then that's when they will fully commit. For example, if you're playing Loki and you pop the runes way too early in the fight, mind you, that's like a 45 second cooldown now. So you really do not want to waste that cooldown. It's basically an ultimate as an ability, but I don't think people understand that yet. That is probably, it's not even probably, that is his most important ability in his kit. So you cannot waste that. You cannot waste that for any given reason. You need to plan for that. You need to. Stop using big cooldowns on people that don't need help on your team. You cannot do that. If they're overextending, you can't help them. You can literally not be frontline to try to save an overextended teammate. You just can't do it. So with that being said, stop having bad ult discipline. Stop using it too late or double ulting with your other support. You guys need to communicate, or at least you have the knowledge of when and when not to use your character's support ultimate in any given situation. You need to know you need to know the team ups, you need to know the comps, and you need to know the situations to where your ultimate ability works. Habit number 3 you need to kick off: you're not swapping or adapting to the enemy team's composition. If they're running Venom, Spider-Man, and Magic, why are you Luna Snow? Why are you Cloak and Dagger? Why are you Adam Warlock? No, you cannot do that. You need to play support characters with decent damage or high mobility. What if only play Cloak and Dagger? No, you're not a real support player then. You need to be learning at least 2 to 4 support characters in that role for any given situation or team comp. Look, this habit is probably the easiest to master because all you have to do is learn about 2 to 4 supports in the role. Now, maybe for the beginning of the game, the first, 2 deaths, you can't be blamed for the pick you chose because you don't know what they were going to pick. But for those 4th and 5th deaths, you need to be switching to something else and being adaptable in any given situation. For example, if you're on a certain map that doesn't support your strategist, then you need to be willing and comfortable to be playing something else. You can't play Cloak and Dagger on every map. You can't play Luna Snow on every map. You can't play Rocket on every map. You can't play the same strategist on every single map in the game. That's just not how this game works. So you need to be adaptable. Because adapting is not just about mechanical skills or aim or anything like that. It's about your game sense and how good that is. You cannot play any strategist on every single map. It's just not possible. Habit number 4 that you keep on religiously doing, and I know for a fact this is most people, and that is in fact playing at the wrong tempo. And what I mean by that is that you're not adapting to how your team is playing. And as a support player, you don't have the luxury of guiding and leading your team's playstyle. You just don't. You only have the ability to keep up with it. For example, if you're just super far away from your team, just heal botting with Rocket, just playing mindlessly nothing, and you're just heal botting, like, no wonder you keep getting picked off by Magic or Iron Fist and then complaining about it. It's not because your teammates aren't peeling, it's because you're way out of position. If your team plays a little aggressive and tries to keep pressure on the enemy team as much as possible, you need to be right there with them. Now, I'm not saying you need to be right in the front lines with them because that's another stupid way to get picked off early in the fights. You need to be somewhat in the middle as to where your team has enough time to compensate for a diver and they can peel for you. You need to be watching your surroundings and your positioning at all times. You, as a support player, cannot afford to be out of position. So when your team gets a pick and has numbers in the fight, you need to be more aggressive. And hopefully, your team is also more aggressive when they realize they have numbers in the fight. And if you guys go down, maybe 2 or 3 players in a fight, you need to automatically retreat. Don't even try to save it. I don't care if you have ultimate ability or not. You cannot do anything in that situation. Therefore, just retreat and don't waste another kill to where they can get free ult charge off you. The thing about this habit is that your pacing matters tremendously in team fights. If you and your other support keep getting staggered, maybe it's not because of you or the other support, it's maybe because your teammate aren't peeling for you correctly. But another reason is because you guys aren't retreating fully and waiting for another push to happen. The worse you and your team staggers, the faster you take the L and already in another requeue or another game. So with any bad habit, I'm going to give you tips to break it. Tip number 1, know your hero. If you're playing Rocket and you know you don't have that much damage potential on a 1v1, you need to be playing closer to your team. Now, if you're playing someone like Mantis, depending on who's playing the 1v1 on you, you may have a better chance of winning it. So maybe you can play a little far back. And plus, she can heal from anywhere. You literally just press a button and it heals them. Unlike Rocket, you actually have to put a little thought into where you place his healing balls at. Number 2, you need to make sure you're keeping track of your DPS and your tanks. And you need to watch your front line's movement because everything correlates. If you see your team got a pick and you see your tanks are pushing up or the front line is making movement, you need to start slowly moving forward up with them. Not be on the same front line as them, but you need to start slowly adjusting your position to back them up before they keep on engaging so they can hopefully close out the fight. And lastly, you need to know when to rotate during fights and other things like that, because that's a big part of tempo. You staying alive is the most important thing in any fight. Even if you're not healing, you may be able to sustain whoever's still left to turn the fight over. And the last habit you keep committing is bad communication. Now, look, I know most people don't want to talk in this game. Look, I don't want to talk to my teammates half the time, but I know I have to do it because I know it will be better and better optimized for our team comp and team gameplay. It just works out. Even if you don't want to talk on the mic, just literally pinging any and everything you see as a support is so good for the team. And if your team is, an actual good team, they will turn around, they will actually pay attention to the pings, and they will do something about what you ping. With no pings, everything leads to no correlation, you double ulting with your other support, missing combos, or you getting flanked without any warning because you didn't say anything, which means your teammate couldn't have compensated to peel for you about time the actual diver got there. So this habit is, of course, really simple to fix. Oh my gosh. How about just actually talking to your teammates? I know it's a hard thing to do, but look, trust me, get over the fear of sounding dumb or getting yelled at because your support playing Cloak and Dagger. You will be fine as long as you're making great callouts and pinging good things. You will be fine. And if they still want to argue about anything, just report them. It's nothing you can do at that point. It's just a lost soul in another Marvel Rivals game. A good support pings their ult status and any type of flank or enemy they may see in a peripheral. So anything that they may see, they're already pinging. And if your teammate is exceptional, then they may actually do something about it. But you have the only job of pinging, because if you don't ping, they won't know. Your thing in Strange is not going to turn around if you don't ping anything. Your Emma can't go into Diamond 4 and potentially grab and one-shot combo the freaking Iron Fist if you don't do something about it, which means you have to be willing to ping everything. Do not shoot his block, by the way. Stop doing that. That's another thing. Stop shooting his block. In the end, a good support player guides their team and helps with the tempo pacing of their team. Even if it's subtle, anything matters when it comes to optimizing your team's gameplay. So I want you to break these 5 habits, and I promise you will start climbing more consistently, and this will be your highest ranked season of Marvel Rivals. If you want more tips like this, especially for tank and support mains, hit that sub button and drop a comment with your favorite support or a favorite tip and trick that you like that I said, and just watch out for more content like this. I'd love to share more tips with you guys. Thanks. Peace.